off, can you guys introduce yourselves and give us a little background of how you got to SapientNitro?
Oh, wow. Stephen Moy, a Vice President and business lead for the New England region for the Boston office for SapientNitro. Been with the company, this is my second time, on and off about 10 years, and been in the industry for 25 years. Well, first started Sapient early 2000. I spent 2 years during the dot-com bubbles and working in a lot of digital technology with a telco company and so forth. And then I left. There was a time after I got my MBA, and then I left, did a startup, and then I came back early 2005. And ever since, I'm still here, like been the longest. And my background is more business strategy and tech, and I'm an engineer by trade. And then I study through my academic time years and into the MBA in marketing. So I'm kind of like the left brain and right brain. I talk to myself a lot. Because the marketing talk to the technology guys, and so that's my background. So I am known for the multi-channel commerce and retail guy in the company.
I'm Eric Healy, Vice President Business Lead here in Boston as well. So Stephen and I effectively run the day-to-day operation of SapientNitro Boston, a team that has grown pretty exponentially in size. I've been with the company almost 3 years and was really brought in to partner with Stephen in terms of kind of growing the Boston group, as well as attempting to kind of codify some of the offerings here. So while Stephen leans a bit heavier in the world of technology, I lean a bit heavier in the world of marketing, and have a history of kind of standing up and building and growing interactive arms of large agencies and holding companies kind of in and around the Boston area. So we have been kind of partners in crime in the growth that's been here in Boston, and changing kind of the mix of services that are offered out of Boston, as well as the mix of clientele that we service. So it's been fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys kind of have diverse backgrounds, and you've been at SapientNitro for a while with Sapient, and I know that you've had a lot of agency experience. So that's really great that you guys can come together and kind of work with all of these different brands and really be on the cutting edge of technology, innovation, and marketing, and really adapting with that and coming up with all these amazing ideas that are impacting not only the brands you guys are working with, but really the consumers. And that's what you guys specialize in. And you don't call it storyboarding, and you don't call it, ideas and brainstorm. You call it actually idea engineering. That is the term you guys have come up with. And I had asked you if you could, come up with a summary, if you could tweet what an idea engineer was. How would you present this? How would you tweet it?
So I think it's really interesting, right? In differentiating oneself in a professional services business, right? Which at the end of the day, from an offering by offering comparison perspective, isn't overly distinguishable, right? We kind of sought out to create something which was akin to kind of the Kleenex to the tissue space, right? It's not just a tissue, it's more than a tissue, right? So idea engineering or idea engineers became an anchor for us to attempt to kind of define who we are and tell a story. And so I guess at its core, it's really around the notion that, any competitive agency out there can comp, an idea, a big idea, or a creative manifestation of a big idea in a PowerPoint presentation, and stand in front of a client with credibility in delivering that, right? And we do that really well too, right? But where we think our point of difference really resides, and where the heritage of the company has really been, is around technology, right? And so it's the ability to not only kind of conceive an idea, but the ability to actually create it, deliver it, develop it, deploy it, kind of across medium and across channel. And so idea engineer became kind of an acronym or a term that we use to attempt to position us as saying, look, it's so much more than just a big idea or the conceiving of a concept, right? It's as much today about the ability to actually deploy that in scenarios that often involve very, very complex technology. And so it's that marriage that we think is really interesting.
That's really terrific. I think that you guys always are demonstrating that. You're always very forward thinking, and you're always developing and deploying all these new ideas and trying to make the user experience better. And you guys get recognition for that. You guys just won a recent award. Forrester named you guys the leading global service provider, and they awarded you really a leader in mobile marketing, which is absolutely outstanding. And so you guys are really marrying ideas to enhance the user experience and always create the consumer and the brand experience as one, kind of turn that into one, and really emphasize how do you make the consumer experience better. So in a world where, everything is changing every single day, I feel like every day I hear a new social network is out to try to make, mobile marketing easier and location-based marketing easier. But how do you create the perfect brand experience for your consumer, for your brand?
I think couple front, right? The way we work with our client, we look at, first of all, we need to understand the consumer insight from the point of view how they interact with their brand currently and also in the future. What I meant is gotta be multi-channel, gotta be social, gotta be mobile, and with the social and mobile, you create a new set of data that you can analyze. Right? How you take all the data together, how you make meaningful insight for those data to provide more personalized experience. For example, you're shopping for a TV, right? You go on, typically I'll do it, go on Amazon and Best Buy, look at the customer reviews, and personally I want to go to the physical store to look at the TV myself. And somehow if a brand like Samsung know I'm shopping, I'm looking around, and then I go into a store that carry their product, they should target me, in theory. So I think that will be how you're going to create an engaging experience throughout the whole network effect, and then how you're going to engage me, create that connection. That would be the key, and that's what SapientNitro about, and how you're going to create the engagement moment, understand the consumer insight on every single touch point, both physical and digital, and how you create that connection. And it's really between the art and science what we talk about how you bring the best idea together, how much you understand your consumer, and you understand what channel and what moment they're doing what, and how you're going to engage them using technology.
And that journey is a really complex one, right? We talk a lot about kind of the customer journey and what it really means for organizations. And organizations on their own can think through that, right? They have an idea of what the vision really is, but really struggle in terms of the deployment of that vision. And so, a recent example, and probably a really relevant one, is we hear from a lot of clients and prospective clients, they're very intrigued with the Apple Store experience, right? And this whole thing centered on kind of retail convergence and the role of technology in the store. The ability, Apple's ability to kind of get customer service associates out from behind the counter onto the floor to interact with customers in new ways by way of using tablet devices or mobile devices, or what's the role of signage in terms of the Genius Bar and my ability to manage my expectations as to, when I'm in queue and I'll know that in 15 minutes I can show up and get some help. The ability to kind of have people armed with equipment that can tell you whether or not that product is actually in the back room or whether they have to order it online. That level of flexibility, I think it's very easy for customers to get a sense of the direction that they want to go, but the ability to deploy that sits across a multitude of skill sets, right? It's understanding consumer insights and consumer behavior. Some of what a company might think the customer wants, the customer may not want, right? Some of it is against kind of the ability to kind of understand technology and digital platforms and the evolution of kind of legacy systems to support those needs. Some of it is the analytics side of the equation of, and the need to justify kind of potential investment from a business case perspective, right? So it brings kind of a multitude of skill sets to the table that we think evolve beyond just a creative agency that has a big idea, right? Or an industrial design firm that has an interesting application, right? Or or a strategic consultant who comes in that might have some thinking around where the business needs to go, right? But the inability to actually do anything beyond kind of putting together the PowerPoint presentation that speaks to it.
I mean, just like you can walk into a store, everybody can put up digital display and screen, but what are you going to do with it? What kind of customer experience you want from at the time before they arrive at the store? Like using mobile, you can schedule a meeting. Let's say you want to schedule a break-fix meeting before you arrive. When you get in there, what kind of experience you want? Are they looking for experience, really want to experience your brand, or they have an errand they want to run, like my phone is broken, let's fix it, or my computer is broken. So you need to understand the psyche and then provide that experience. So because we see a lot of we would say a lot of heavy equipment, you can put all the big flat screen TV, but what are you going to do with it? Like you walked in, you don't know what to do with it.
Talk about differentiation. It's not just, going with digital and running with it just because it's trending. You really have to work hard to create that consumer and user experience and really know what the consumer wants, because if you don't know and you're kind of just running blind with it, you're not going to, deliver on and see results, which is really important. I think Apple is a great example. I think that they do a tremendous job. I mean, you see people, just going into the store just to go into the store, and then you do see people going in being like, I need to go to the Genius Bar, my screen is shattered, and you need to help me fix it in 10 minutes so I can get back to work. You know what I mean? So I think that, really you guys do a great job. I just had a tour of your office, and you guys were showing me some really great projects you were working on. Even from, Coke approaches you, and they're like, we want a future vending machine. And you're like, okay, first of all, you're working on the technology behind this future vending machine. You're working on the graphics to really, make that consumer experience, a beautiful one. And then you're also making it targeted to that consumer, so you can bring, all these beautiful video and graphics and say there is, a basketball game, and the college students, as you had mentioned, wants to see the highlights from that basketball game. If it's in a college campus, you can easily insert in that. If it's in the Beijing Olympics, where you guys had premiered this, you can have, all these promos for the Olympics. So I think that's really interesting, and you guys do a fabulous job at it. So, as I said, emerging technologies are constantly reshaping business and brands, and we constantly have to be on our toes. I feel like I'm always behind on what the new and the next big thing is. And I think that it's really interesting that you guys are really in the business of, forward thinking and really predicting what is next. And so, do you guys have any predictions on what the next big thing is in this digital world, and what people are going to have to or what are we going to have to be prepared for? How do we prepare for these changes?
I think there are a number of different things, right, that are going to kind of influence what a consumer buying experience looks like, or a consumer shopping or evaluative experience looks like in the future. I think one trend that is not necessarily new, but is one that is going to increase in terms of its role and importance, is the role of personalization and customization, right? You're seeing a lot of folks out there, brands and manufacturers, who are beginning to design around it. We see sites, there's a UK site out there called made.com, right? And literally it's just-in-time inventory, right? So the products actually don't even exist. It's a photo on a website. It's a beautiful photo on a website of a piece of furniture, right? It's out there to enlist folks. Folks go in, and if you get 100 hand raisers, then the manufacturer of that product will actually then go and make the product and produce it for those 100 individuals and ship the product. I think you see it with certain kind of retailers out there that we're involved with. Ralph Lauren has been out there in terms of the rugby collection, offering certain levels of kind of personalization and customization, right, for specific wardrobes, where you can choose your letter, or you can choose the image of a coat of arms or what have you, and make that personalized and relevant to your own wardrobe, right? Those trends, I think, aren't going away, and in fact, I think that they're going to become kind of, increasingly complicated as folks begin to develop a relationship with a given brand, begin to transact with that brand and interact with that brand kind of increasingly across channel, across medium. I think it gets very, very interesting. So there's a social component to that, in terms of, I think, you want to share an experience that you might have comped up with your friends in advance of actually purchasing that item. You may want to opt to transact when you're away from your computer or away from your home, right, and you're on the subway, and so there's a mobile commerce component to it that could be really, really important. But I think that larger trend of kind of the role of personalization and customization, and forcing brands to really interact with a consumer increasingly kind of in the consumer's own way, and increasingly on the consumer's own terms, is something that just isn't going to go away. And I think that as new technologies unfold, more of that is just going to be centered against the notion of that personalized and customized experience.
Yeah, I think to add to that, I mean, it's getting a little bit scary at the same time, but it's coming. And think about, we will see not only personalization, on top of that will be real-time targeted marketing, meaning there's a lot of startup in Massachusetts, right? You could, if you opt in, they could locate you by GPS, even before you walk into a store. So you're driving around, you drive by a Target, they say, hey, I know you've been shopping, Procter & Gamble product, and I know you've been shopping at Target. Somehow they figured out, if they connect all the data sources together, and they could push a real-time offer to you text messages, email to your phone, and say, come on by, buy one get one free, and it's that level of personalization. And some engagement, the consumer experience, some people expect that. Like, you look at how many people check into Foursquare, letting people know where you are. I mean, you can easily target them if you know they will appreciate your brand. So we see more and more of that. And I think more interestingly, every single digital destination will be opportunity on the other side for the brand become a monetization property. Anything is addressable, meaning even this phone, they can put up an advertising for me if they want to. Like calling in, setting up restaurant appointment, and I'm using my American Express. Imagine the world is all connected, and all the data somehow, without violating the privacy law, I can actually pinpoint where you are and give you a real-time offer, and that is meaningful to you if you allow me to.
We started to use the term internally, kind of experience monetization, right. And it's an interesting one in terms of like, as technology kind of continues to evolve and as these experiences get deeper and more personalized and more customized, it's forcing folks to kind of rethink what the metrics are in terms of how you monetize, some of these experiences at the end of the day. And I think we find that kind of fascinating in terms of, how do you deploy, a new set of metrics, right? In terms of whether it's with Dunkin' Donuts and a digital menu board that they're now looking as being a whole new customer engagement platform, right? There's a new set of measures associated with that, right? What about things and form factors like digital cab tops, right? That only display an ad based on geographic proximity to a given advertiser, right? Those are new form factors that kind of require one to rethink ultimately, how you justify making investments in certain swim lanes as a company. And I think that's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, it really is. I think that, as we experience technology innovation every single day, we're becoming more empowered as consumers, and I think it's really amazing. And there's that fine line where people are like, this is such a great thing. I love Foursquare. I love getting these deals. I know Level Up is becoming a huge thing.
Oh, yes. I mean, look at that, right? I mean, they came in a couple of weeks ago and met up with them. Think about it, right? 2 years ago or 18 months ago, we've been talking to all the major big box retailers. They said, well, I cannot support 3D barcode or QR code because I need to change on my scanner. Look at Level Up. They even put a docking machine with a phone, and then voila, you're done. I mean, that would present a new opportunity if I'm a retailer, I'm an advertiser. I would love to try if that is if QR code is a good thing for my business. I mean, you can quickly deploy it. In the past, because of the constraint of the technology, you say I have to wait because it's going to cost me a lot of money to change all the POS system with the scanner. Now you just have to install a piece of disruptive technology, very new, and then you got, voila, and then you can get the data, you can analyze, okay, this is a viable channel. People are going to do more shopping using the mobile phone. Now I can create CRM program or marketing program, or how I can prepare how to transact with you going forward. So you see the technology is shorten the cycle right now. And when we talk about different monetization opportunity and make the ROI investment more appealing now for a marketer, because I don't have to wait for 6 months, because right now I can not only create that solution to interact with my client, I can sell an advertising slot on that property. And then you got the self-funding mechanism.
It's truly amazing. I mean, I feel like, the opportunities that you have are just like limitless with this technology.
You've heard about
Square technology, right? In terms of kind of the mobile commerce piece. And Square is essentially giving this away to prospective retailers. And their business is monetized off of the swipe and the transaction. So think about something in terms of kind of enabling mobile commerce, right? The ability to take this little square, put it in the top of your iPhone, right? And now be able to accept credit card transactions from anyone as a merchant. So think of like a local craft fair, right? I mean, people at local craft fairs who in the past have only been able to take money because you don't have electricity, you can't support the the credit card swipe and the authorization component, to now facilitate that by way of a mobile device, right? It's going to really evolve, how customers interact with brands and experiences. And this is what it is, So
it is the very simply put, the technology basically they transmit the audio signal using your credit card information, translated them into audio signal and send it through. So in theory, right, that change any mobile device into a point of sale machine, and you see how fast the conversion's happening right now. And they just recently named one of the top 50 most innovative company in the world by Fast Company.
You know, it's pretty amazing what innovation can really do. Like, this is such a small piece of technology, but it's going to impact the way, you know, businesses sell their products and the way consumers expect to be sold products. And I think that it's really interesting, like you said, that it's kind of shortening the cycle for these products to be pushed out. You see a lot of overnight, you know, buzz about, you know, new social networks, new ways on buying products. And some people don't like how, you know, how personalized it's actually getting. But at the same time, you know, people complain that Google and Facebook are taking all this information to make a more personalized experience online. You know, you get targeted advertisements. And yet sometimes I'll get like an advertisement pop up about, like, you know, a mechanic school, and I'm like, why? You know what I mean? Like, you guys know what I'm Googling, you guys know what I'm searching on Facebook. I don't know why this is coming up. So I think it's really interesting how we're going to see a lot more personalization and a lot more ease of the way we go about, you know, daily things. I think that's really interesting. And so you guys are really, I mean, you get to see all of this new innovation. You guys are kind of one step ahead of everyone else, I feel, and you guys really are, you know, forward thinking in everything that you do. And, you know, not only are you getting awards, but, you know, recognizable and really prestigious schools are doing case studies on you. Both MBA programs at Harvard and Yale have done case studies on how you guys really are, you know, not only a thought leader in the industry, but you really empower your employees to be thought leaders as well. So what do you think, you know, has fueled your success at this company and the employees at the company, and really transfers over to how your clients are successful as well?
Well, I think start from the top, right? I mean, you see how we share the office, the way we collaborate together, because we recognize when we start working together, just like how SapientNitro created in a way, is how you create the intersection between business, marketing, and technology. So the way we manage our team, and speaking personally, though, that's why we share everything, the way we handle it, we set the tone with the team, is all about collaboration across multiple disciplines. So you see every in our methodology, every project or every retainer, every relationship, we start with a brand. We will talk about setting up a team where we have strategy people involved, we have consumer insight people involved, we have creative people involved. They have different type of creative, from user experience to copywriting, and also we have technologists involved. We have, and then more importantly, we have program management people involved, because not only you can have all the discipline collaborate, creating idea that can be executed, can be engineered, but you have to fit within a budget, because no one has unlimited money. And I think that has been the engine for creativity.
And some of it goes all the way back to kind of, you know, our philosophy as a company as well. And you know, and when the company originally took root, you know, this commitment to really enabling human potential, right, is a cornerstone of kind of who we are and what we do. And then really delivering solutions that make a difference on the world, you know, and so we believe that, and that's kind of anchored and aligned against some core values that we have, you know, as a company, that are really instilled, you know, on a day-to-day basis here. It's in terms of how we recruit people, it's how we reward people, it's how we grow people within the company. It's a really, really flat organization, right? You see there's a level of openness by way of how we sit and function as a business. You know, we literally, you know, the behind closed doors in terms of an office environment is rare within the world of Sapient. We used to sit out on the floor. Our preference is sitting out on the floor where we're in the open and with the teams. You know, and that's something that's really kind of important. So I think, you know, we may be a 10,000 person, billion-dollar company, but the fixation is to function like a 35 person scrappy kind of entrepreneurial organization that encourages, you know, honest engagement, encourages collaboration, challenges each other in interesting ways. Our business models aren't really married to anything. We experiment a lot in terms of ultimately how we're structured and how we go to market and how we differentiate ourselves from competitors. So there's a level of flexibility, I think, within the company that is an asset, and I think makes us pretty dangerous to competitors out there in the space.
And then our client success focus, I tell you, you will hear the repeating theme. We always make decisions based on how successful we make the client. Do we provide the value? Do we minimize the risk for whatever initiative we're working with them? And sometimes we turn down business because we believe we cannot make that happen for our client for a variety of reasons. We don't believe that's the most strategic thing, or there's too much risk, and we strongly advise not to do it. So the whole client success has been, you know, the philosophy. So anything we do. And so when they come up with a solution, like for example, you know, anytime we have a brand or client come to us, I want an iPhone app or iPad app. So you could spend millions of dollars on an iPhone, iPad app, or you can spend what makes sense for you. So we typically peel the onion saying, what do you want to do with your mobile channel, right? And we ask questions along those lines from a more strategic angle. So, and then once we peel the onion, you understand, this is what you want to do.
Sometimes to a level of discomfort, where they come in thinking that they want X, but the reality is they really need Y, right? And so it's, and part of that conversation shifts in terms of, even on the emerging technology side of the house is it's not only just delivering a solution to the market, to the consumer, it's also helping the organization to provide an infrastructure, a state of readiness. We spend a lot of time with kind of the governance side of the equation of like embedding new roles and responsibilities within a person's job description and helping an organization stand up to kind of take some of those gating factors that exist in embracing new technologies and new approaches, either minimizing them or eliminating them for those organizations so that they're actually prepared to, once it's up and they've made a commitment, you've made a fundamental commitment, right? Once you decide that you're going to embrace social media, you've made a commitment to embracing social media, and there's a lot that comes with that, right? From a technology perspective, from an infrastructure perspective, from a people perspective, from a budgetary perspective, from a results in terms of like, how are we going to measure the success of that at the end of the day? And so enabling that becomes a much bigger conversation than just, a wonderful idea, right, on a piece of paper to the actual deployment of something which is somewhat tactile in orientation, right? There's so much more in between. And we tend to spend a lot of time on the in-between.
I think that's really terrific, and I think that you guys really demonstrate how not only creative you are, but really authentic. I mean, I think that it says something that sometimes you'll turn down business because you don't think you can, give 110% to that client and then really make it work for them. And I think that's really important. And not only are you focusing on the return on investment, but really return on influence as well. So I think that's really a really tremendous thing. Yeah, it's a new ROI. So I think that's really, really terrific. But yeah, when you walk in, you get a great vibe from this office. You see a lot of, diverse people in here. You see a lot of diverse clients you guys are working for, and it's just like a really exciting program to be a part of, company to be a part of. And I think that it says something, when you said that you have a lot of students coming in for orientation, 22, 21, and really being trained in how to succeed in this world of idea engineers. And so I think that it would be really beneficial for our listeners to hear from you guys. If you want to be a future idea engineer, what will make you successful in this? What would make you a great asset to SapientNitro or a company like SapientNitro?
I think entrepreneurship to start with. I mean, you have to, if you believe in something, own it and run with it. But of course, also we will make you accountable for it, right? So that's an entrepreneurial spirit. Collaboration is very important. How you work with bigger team. Everybody's different, and you have to the diversity of thinking and also different perspectives is powerful because when you collect them together and make it meaningful, it's very powerful for our client solution or anything we do. And then what would you say, flexibility?
Flexibility, I think a passion. There's an underlying passion here. People are very, very passionate about what they do, how they do it, as well as kind of a passion for what's next and what's new and what's around the corner. I think that everyone here is very comfortable with the idea of going into a scenario where we may not have done it before, right? That's almost built into, perfect clients are the clients that allow us to push them into new lanes where things may not be as well defined and may not be as comfortable. And it's living in that stretch moment, right? They say, in every job there's the 80% or the foundational skills that are required for you to do the job, and then there's the 20%, which is kind of the area that makes you a little bit comfortable. Maybe you've never done it before and you have to stretch to reach those opportunities. I think the focus for us is kind of living in the world of the stretch, right? The 80% is a given, right? In terms of you have to have the core skill sets to come in and be successful in a really passionate, driven, smart organization. But that interest in evolving too. And we've seen people here evolve in terms of their careers. They've come from different lanes and they've evolved to different jobs. We've had folks who, from a program management perspective, assume different responsibilities, or folks from a technology perspective come in and assume different responsibilities. And they have a quest for mastery. So the technologist who suddenly is interested in marketing and has a willingness and a passion to learn more about marketing suddenly gets to a point in his or her career where they're actually finding themselves very comfortable talking about both, right? that for us is a huge win, and we love to see, we use hybrid a lot in terms of kind of that hybrid mindset here is something that's really, really important of, it's a liberal arts kind of mentality in terms of saying like, well, gee, you're not educated, you're not going to school just to become a great plumber, right? You can be a great plumber, and you can be a great musician, and you can be a great artist, and you can do this and you can do that, and having that flexibility and the ability to kind of leverage some of those things in a role in a fast-growing company is really exciting.
Yeah. An exciting thing to be a part of, I'm sure. That. And you guys said you continue to grow, and you guys are hiring in the Boston area more so, and you guys have offices all over. You have some in Miami, you have one in New York, you have one in San Francisco.
Yes, 37 offices.
37 offices. Well, it's terrific. And I mean, you guys are doing a tremendous job, and you guys are really, pushing the boundaries of the digital world. And I'm so excited to see what you guys have for us in store next. Like Dunkin' Donuts, Coca-Cola, we all use these products, and you guys are all impacting how we use them. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.